I'll tell you a list of standard ayats from the Quran, which are called as the Ruqya ayats. So note down these ayats. And in all the major kinds of black magic, or in any kind of black magic, you recite these ayats over the patient, and while reciting, the jinn reacts. So when you recite these ayats over the jinn, and when the jinn reacts, and when the jinn starts speaking, you ask the jinn about his name and his religion and the purpose for which he came. So in these cases, you keep reciting these ayats over the person, and you blow these ayats over the water, and you give the patient to drink this water and to wash himself with. So the ayats are, the first is Surah Al-Fatiha. You recite Surah Al-Fatiha, and then you recite Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 1 to 5, and ayah 102, 163, 164, 255, and 285, and 286. And Surah Al-Imran and ayah 18 and 19, Surah Al-Araf ayah 54 and 56, and Surah Al-Araf ayah 117 and 122, and Surah Yunus ayah 81 and 82, and Surah Taha ayah 869, and Surah Al-Mu'minun ayah 115 to 118, and Surah As-Safat ayah 1 to 10, and Surah Al-Haqaf ayah 29 and 32, and Surah Ar-Rahman ayah 33 and 36, and Surah Al-Hashr ayah 21 to 24, and Surah Al-Jinn ayah 1 to 9, Surah Ikhlas, Surah Falaq, Surah Nas. So these ayats should be recited over the person, and once you recite these ayats, you have to blow it over water. It should be recited in a way by keeping the jug or the bottle close to your mouth. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. I mean, it has to be recited in this way by keeping the jug or the bottle close to your mouth. And once you recite it, blow it over the water, and then give this water to the patient to drink and to wash himself with. And based on the symptoms, you have to modify the set of ayats. So I'll tell you what to modify and what kind of magic. For sihr of love, that is sihr al-muhabba, you have to omit Surah Al-Baqarah ayah 102 with, you replace it with Surah Taghabun ayah 14 to 16. You have to recite Surah Taghabun ayah 14 to 16 in place of Surah Al-Baqarah ayah 102. And you do the same thing, the same stuff, you blow it over water, you give it to the patient, and inshallah the treatment will be done. In case of sihr al-takhil, that is false appearance of the objects, you have to recite Ayat al-Kursi and announce azan at the place where the patient is seated. And for sihr al-junun, you have to recite Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Hud, Surah Al-Hijr, Surah Safat, Surah Qaf, Surah Ar-Rahman, Surah Mulk, Surah Jinn, Surah Al-Ala, Surah Al-Zalzala, Surah Al-Humaza, Surah Al-Kafirun, Surah Al-Falaq, Surah Al-Nas, 2 or 3 times a day for 1 complete month. And you may complain that I cannot recite it. I mean, I'm not a hafiz. Like, how can I recite Surah Al-Baqarah, Hud, and Al-Hijr, and Safat 2 to 3 times a day? It's not possible for me for 1 complete month. In that case, you'll get a tape, an audio tape, or audio file from internet. You can download it and play it at least 2 to 3 times a day for 1 complete month in the case of sihr al-junun, if a person is lunatic. In case of sihr al-khumul, that is the magic of letharginess, play and listen the audio tapes, 1 in the morning, 1 at Asr, and 1 at bedtime for 45 days. I repeat, play and listen the audio tapes, 1 in morning, 1 at Asr, and 1 at bedtime for 45 days. And that audio tape should contain Surah Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Al-Yasin, Surah Al-Imran, Surah Safat, Surah Al-Dukhan, Surah Al-Zariyat, Surah Al-Hashr, Surah Al-Ma'arij, Surah Al-Ghashiyah, Surah Al-Zalzala, Surah Al-Qariya, and Surah Falaq, and Surah Nas. That audio tape should contain all these surahs. And in case of sihr al-hawatif, that is nightmares and bad dreams, in that case, the patient should recite the supplications before going to bed, which you find in Hisn al-Muslim, Fortress of Muslim, and he has to recite Surah As-Safat in the morning and Ad-Dukhan before going to bed. Ad-Dukhan before going to bed and Surah As-Safat in the morning. So besides reciting Surah As-Safat in the morning and Ad-Dukhan before going to bed, the patient has to listen to Surah Al-Baqarah every 3 days. and reciting the last two ayats of Surah Al-Baqarah before going to bed. Amana Rasulu bima unzila ilayhi. Those two ayats, and listening to Surah Al-Fussilat, Surah Al-Fatah, Surah Al-Jinn 3 times a day. Listen to what? Surah Al-Fussilat, Surah Al-Fatah, and Surah Al-Jinn 3 times a day in case of Sihr al-Hawatif. In case of Sihr al-Mard, that is the magic of illness, the patient has to listen 3 times a day Al-Fatiha, Ayat al-Kursi, Ad-Dukhan, Al-Jinn, Surah Al-Falaq, Surah Al-Nas, and recite these surahs over black seed oil, which you call in Urdu as kalonji ka tel. So recite these ayats over black seed oil and rub over the patient. And if you don't get the black seed oil, it's common, you can get it from anywhere, but if you cannot get it, get olive oil. Even the olive oil acts as an antidote. So get olive oil and recite Surah Al-Fatiha, Ayat al-Kursi, Ad-Dukhan, Al-Jinn, Falaq and Nas over olive oil, and rub over the part of the body of the patient where he complains that he feels constant pain. In case of Sihr al-Nazif, that is constant bleeding in women, recite the standard set of Ruqya ayats which I've mentioned in the second stage, and advise the patient to wash her body for 3 days with that water. And that water should not be drained in the washroom. You have to drain the water somewhere where the people don't usually pass by. In case of sihr of impeding marriage, we advise women to maintain hijab, no music and songs in the house, and wudu before going to bed, and Ayat al-Kursi to be recited before going to bed. And listen to Ayat al-Kursi audio for 60 minutes, 1 hour every day. Ayat al-Kursi and al-Muwassitain, that is Surah Falaq and Surah Nas audio for 60 minutes. 60 minutes Ayat al-Kursi repeatedly, and 60 minutes Surah Falaq and Surah Nas. And we ask the patient to drink the water and to wash himself or herself with every 3 days with the water blown on with ruqya. In case of sihr al-rabt, that is the men who experience the erection problems due to magic, we ask them to get 7 green jujube, I don't know how you pronounce it, jujube leaves, what you call in Urdu as bear ke patte, jujube leaves, and crush them between 2 stones, and then add water to them and recite into it Ayat al-Kursi and the surahs that begin with Qul, that is Surah Al-Ikhlas, Kafirun, Falaq and Nas. Then take 3 sips of it, then wash oneself with it, and it will inshallah take away all the problems in his body. And this is good for a man who has been prevented from having intimate relationships with his wife. So this treatment is mentioned by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani in Fath al-Bari. And then you advise the patient to observe Salah in a group, in Jama'ah, and then you ask him not to listen to songs and the music, and you ask him to be in the state of wudu as much as possible and recite Ayat al-Kursi before going to bed, and you ask him to say Bismillah before doing any task, and you ask him to recite La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu lahul mulk wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir 100 times a day. And you ask him to read and recite or listen to Quran every day, and you ask him to be in the company of pious people, and you ask him to observe morning and evening supplications, which you find in Hisnul Muslim, Fortress of Muslim.